So this morning I felt I needed to come on and record. I've never done anything like this before, but I just felt compelled to come on and tell you what's happening here, because what's happening here could be happening to you sometime soon. It looks like we're being used as a bit of a guinea pig in Europe to see how people react to these sort of extreme measures. Today it's May the 10th, 2021, and I'm in Cyprus. And up until now, the government had draconian measures in place already, where we were basically under house arrest, where we're only allowed out once a day if we got permission from the government to leave our houses. They dropped that in favour of draconian measures number 2, where basically we either have to have one of these, or we've had the C within the last 6 months. If we can't actually prove that we've had one of these, then we're being discriminated as to where we can go. And people, we're talking basic things here. You can't even get on a bus unless you can prove this. So it's ridiculous because you can't get on a bus, but they'll let you get in a taxi. How does that work? A taxi is more confined than a bus. So instead of spending €4 on your trip, you've got to spend €40. The ridiculous measures that are introducing, it means that we can no longer go to a bar, to a restaurant. We can't go to church. We can't go to gym. We can't go to shopping malls unless we can prove that we have what they're now calling this safe pass. Yet, ironically, we can go to other places where smaller grocery shops, supermarkets where we can get food, where apparently you don't need a safe pass. So this is a very clever virus that knows exactly where we are and what we're doing, and it doesn't infect us when we're in these places. It's ridiculous. But they're enforcing these measures. They are in complete violation of Nuremberg Code, Council of Europe Directive on Discrimination of People over the Sea. They're in complete violation of the Cyprus Constitution, the Data Protection Act, because you have to show this before you're allowed entry into any of these places. But the only people who can enforce that are the police. All these poor people that have got to open their doors and check everybody, they're not allowed to do that. The people do not have to tell them whether they have or have not got one of these. It's ridiculous. The whole measures are crazy. So I'm saying this because it's also been rumoured here, and I can't validate or confirm this, that basically, what happens here, Europe is watching. Maybe financially it's been an incentive to get Cyprus to test it on behalf of the rest of Europe. Who knows, but it certainly looks something like that. Let's see what happens there. Let's see what plays out there. And then if we get away with it there, then we're going to start implementing it across the rest of Europe. There are people here who are struggling. There are people here who are dying because they cannot get access to food. They cannot get access to medical facilities. It's ridiculous. I know of people where employers now are putting extreme measures upon them regarding having these things stuck up their nose, where they're being asked to be tested every 2 days. It's violation of human rights. They have no right to do this. Even if we have these tests up our nose, we have to have them every 72 hours. Can you believe that? Every 72 hours if we want to go to the places where we went a year and a half ago. It's absolutely ridiculous. The government has given virtually no support to people. Unless you were affected by COVID, then you will not get any support from the government. There has been no support to unemployed people in Cyprus since this pandemic, scandemic, actually started. They have given us nothing. There are people starving. I know personally of families here in Paphos where they have nothing, where they're completely reliant upon people giving them donations, giving them food. Now, if I know of that number of people, you can multiply that by 10. There's probably more people starving here that have actually died of this sea. I'm telling you all of this because it's happening, it's real, it started today, we're fighting it, we're going to do everything we can to fight it. We're not just going to sit here and take it. But you have to understand that what happens here is also going to happen to you. So please take notice of what's happening here. Stand up with us, support us. We all have to get behind this. We the people have to stand up. There is nobody going to do it for us. There is no saviour out there. You can't just follow the crowd because everybody else is doing it. You've got to stand up for what you believe. We the people can do this if we stand up and say no. And that is our sovereign right to do so. And we have to do that. And we have to do it today before it's too late. Because otherwise, this is the start. Trust me, you're going to see a lot more things happen. If they know they can control us like this, they're going to control us more and more and more. People, it's not about having a V just so you can travel. It's not just about having a V because you think life is going to get back to normal. It isn't. You have to understand that. It isn't going to get back to normal. This is all part of a plan that is going to push us further and further into being controlled. We have to break away from the fear, break away from the control. They're bullies. When you stand up to them, they have to back off. We have to stand up, and that's what we're going to be doing. There is no way that I am going to walk into a shop having to show a so-called safe pass, which, according to the IT minister yesterday, is a long-term measure, which completely goes against what the Minister of Health said 2 days before, that it was a temporary measure. So we know it's here to stay. These little things are slipping out. So it's going to happen to you, but it's up to you to make sure that it doesn't happen. Just the same, it's up to us, to me. I'm going to stand up and fight. I know people like me that are going to stand up and fight. We have to turn around and say no to this. It is not in our interest to just sit here and do nothing and think, oh, well, our government knows what's best for us. It doesn't. None of them do. You have to get that through your head, that they're not looking after your best interest. They're looking to control you. I'm not trying to scaremonger. I'm really not. We can and will do this if we stand together and support one another. Don't discriminate between people who have and have not. Everyone has the freedom to make their own decision about it, but don't pick on people if they choose to have a different view to you. It's their choice. It's their free will. Allow them to do what they want. But here in Cyprus, for example, I know of people that are being forced to keep, if they want to keep their jobs, they have to go and comply with this. I know of mothers that are petrified because their children now here, have to have one of these before they can go into school now. They're going to V them. Children. You want that to happen where you are? You want them to completely control you and your children? We don't want that to happen here. We're trying to fight it now because they're testing it out on us. And if they get through, they're going to test it out on you, and it's going to happen. So please, we need your support. We need you to share this. We need you to pass this around because we need as much help as we can to stop this now.